Want to speak real Dutch from your first lesson? Sign up for your free lifetime account at DutchPod101.com.
Kijk, het regent.
Zie je Pieters auto daar? Het raam staat nog open.
Oh, de stoel is al nat. Ik roep Pieter meteen.
Nee, Pieter is niet thuis. Hij werkt vandaag.
Op zondag?
Ja, Pieter werkt in de winkel van zijn oom, in het centrum. Die winkel is open op zondag.
Ik heb zin in koffie met iets lekkers.
Hebben ze hier lekkere koffie?
Ja, de koffie is erg goed.
Oké, ik neem ook koffie. Hebben Bert en jij kinderen?
Wij hebben 2 kinderen. En jij? Heb jij kinderen?
Ja, wij hebben ook 2 kinderen.
Je hebt een druk leven.
Jan heeft een druk leven. Ik heb een goed leven.
Hello and welcome to this next Dutch lesson where we will talk about the must-know phrases in Dutch. My name is Stella and I will be teaching you some very useful basic phrases in Dutch today. So let's get started. The first word of the day is hallo. Hello. Hallo. Hello. So as you can see, the standard Dutch greeting is very similar to the English one. Now, if you feel like mixing it up a little bit, you can also say hoi, which is our version of hey, and it's slightly more informal. Now, if you want to be a little less casual, for example, if you arrive at work in the morning, you could say this. Goedemorgen. Good morning. Goedemorgen. Goedemorgen. Now, if you want to be a little less casual, for example, if you arrive at work in the morning, you could say this. Goedemorgen. Goedemorgen. Good morning. You can also say this to anyone else you meet in the morning, for example, in a shop or the person you wake up next to. If it's in the afternoon, you could say this. Goedemiddag. Good afternoon. Goedemiddag. Goedemiddag. This one is much more formal than goedemorgen. In the Netherlands, you can say goedemorgen to anyone, but goedemiddag is really only used when starting a conversation with someone you don't know. For example, at the supermarket or at the beginning of a phone call. Goedenavond. Good evening. Goedenavond. Goedenavond. Good evening. This one is pretty formal. You do best to only use it, for example, when entering a restaurant or something like that. Hoe heet u? What's your name? Hoe heet u? Hoe heet u? What's your name? Bear in mind that the Dutch have a formal you, which is u, and an informal you, which is je. So if you're asking a child or a classmate what his or her name is, you should probably go with hoe heet je? Now, after learning someone's name, you'll likely be asked to say yours, to which you could say, ik ben, I'm, ik ben, enter your name here. So in my case, it would be, ik ben Stella. Ik ben Stella. I'm Stella. It's just your basic introduction. After you've both stated your names, you'll likely shake hands and say something like this. Leuk je te ontmoeten. Nice to meet you. Leuk je te ontmoeten. Leuk je te ontmoeten. Nice to meet you. Now remember the difference between je and u. If you're meeting a new client at work, you may want to say leuk u te ontmoeten, just to class it up a bit. Another useful sentence right after introductions is hoe gaat het? How are you? Hoe gaat het? Hoe gaat het? How are you? It's a nice way to get to know a little bit about the other person, if they feel like sharing. Most of the time, though, they will probably just say that they're fine and leave it at that. And that would sound like this. Het gaat prima, dank je. En met jou? I'm fine, thanks. And you? Het gaat prima, dank je. En met jou? Het gaat prima, dank je. En met jou? I'm fine, thanks. And you? So when people ask you this, it's probably better not to launch into a 15-minute speech about how you are really doing. Keep it short and to the point. Now, here comes one that's rather ambiguous. Alsjeblieft. Please. Alsjeblieft. Alsjeblieft. Please. First of all, when saying this to someone you know well, say alsjeblieft. Je, u, remember? But whichever one you use, it can also mean here you go. So you say it when you're asking someone for something, but also when handing it over. It's pretty confusing, right? Crazy Dutchies. When someone hands you something, or someone has done something nice for you, the polite thing to do is say this. Dank je. Thank you. Dank je. Dank je. Thank you. And again, if you're in a formal situation, say dank u. Next one is what you say after that. Graag gedaan. You're welcome. Graag gedaan. Graag gedaan. Now, this is probably a hard one because of the notorious Dutch sound. Just remember, if you pull this off, you'll sound very Dutch indeed. The next two are really short and to the point. Ja. Yes. Ja. Ja. Yes. Nee. No. Nee. Nee. No. Just your basic yes and no. Use them wisely. The next one is easy. You'll all recognize it immediately. Okay. 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 And of course it means okay. It's the same word and you can basically spell it any way you like, so go to town. Excuseer. Excuse me. Excuseer. Excuseer. Excuse me. You can say this if you want to pass by someone and you need them to move, for example. The second way to apologize in Dutch is het spijt me. I'm sorry. Het spijt me. Het spijt me. I'm sorry. You can also say sorry if you've done a small thing wrong, but if you've really made a mess of things, you may want to go all the way and just go with het spijt me. So let's move on to a few short questions. First one is, hoe laat is het? What time is it? Hoe laat is het? Hoe laat is het? What time is it? A literal translation would be, how late is it? But we use this whenever we just want to ask for the time. Waar is het toilet? Where is the restroom? Waar is het toilet? Waar is het toilet? Where is the restroom? So I'm sure you recognize the word toilet in there, but if you want to sound very Dutch, use wc for water closet. So then you would say, waar is de wc? The next one isn't a question, but a request. Wacht even. Wait a moment. Wacht even. Wacht even. Wait a moment. You can use this if someone is talking to you while you're busy, or if you need someone to not move while you grab something from a different aisle, etc. It's a very useful sentence. So if you're in a shop and you want to ask how much something is, you can ask, hoeveel kost dit? How much is this? Hoeveel kost dit? How much is this? Though usually when you're in the Netherlands, there will be clear price tags on everything. The Dutch don't haggle. If you've eaten at a restaurant and you want the check, say, mag ik de rekening alstublieft? Could I get the check, please? Mag ik de rekening alstublieft? Mag ik de rekening alstublieft? Could I get the check, please? Now remember, Dutch people will often split the bill. So if you want to ask for the check, but you don't want to necessarily imply that you'll be the one paying for it, you could say, mogen wij de rekening alstublieft? Which means, could we get the check, please? Here's a word you really need to know, but you probably already do. Help. 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 It just means help. Sometimes life will throw you a bone. Tot later. See you later. If you're taking leave of someone, you can say tot later. Tot later. See you later. You can also just say later. That's been catching on quickly lately. Here's a slightly more formal version of saying goodbye. Tot ziens. Goodbye. Tot ziens. Tot ziens. Goodbye. You're technically saying the same thing you were earlier. It just means that you'll see each other again. But this is the one you would use in a grocery store, whereas you would say tot later or later to a friend. So that's all for today. These were the must-know phrases in Dutch. If there's anything missing from this list, make sure to tell me in the comments. Like and subscribe to this channel. And if you'd like to learn more Dutch, visit dutchpod101.com. Thanks and goodbye. Hi again and welcome to this next Dutch lesson. My name is Stella and today we'll be talking about some of the most important Dutch verbs. Let's get started. Zijn. Zijn. To be. Hij is piloot. Hij is piloot. He is a pilot. Now, like many languages, Dutch has strong and weak verbs, and zijn is a typical strong verb. And that's why zijn doesn't look or sound anything like is. Hij is piloot. So, in combination with hij or zij, he or she, the verb zijn sounds like is. Leuk vinden. Leuk vinden. To like. Ik vind haar leuk. Ik vind haar leuk. I like her. Now, if you're saying this in Dutch, especially about a person, then it usually means that you have a little crush on them. So be careful when you use this. Doen. Doen. To do. Wij doen de afwas. Wij doen de afwas. We are doing the dishes. This is also a strong verb, but it's recognizable here. The word doen or do can be used for many different things, and there's a lot of different meanings to it, just like in English. Zeggen. Zeggen. To say. Zij zegt helemaal niets. Zij zegt helemaal niets. She says nothing at all. This is just a very neutral word. If you're going to ask someone to tell you a story, then you can start the sentence with zeg. For example, you can say, zeg, hoe is het afgelopen met John? I say, whatever happened to John? Except it's less archaic in Dutch than it is in English. Horen. Horen. To hear. Ik hoor de trein. Ik hoor de trein. I hear the train. There's an easy way to remember this one, because the verb horen sounds a lot like oren. So, horen doe je met je oren. You hear with your ears. Gaan. Gaan. To go. Zij gaan naar huis. Zij gaan naar huis. They are going home. Gaan can also mean leaving. For example, if you say ik ga, that means I'm leaving. Weten. Weten. To know. Ik weet niets. Ik weet niets. I know nothing. Jon Snow. That's literally the only time I've ever seen that sentence. So in Dutch, unless you're quoting Game of Thrones, you would say, ik weet het niet. I don't know. Nemen. Nemen. To take. Kun je de fiets nemen? Kun je de fiets nemen? Could you take the bike? So this is nemen in the context of choosing a means of transportation. So, ik neem een appel means I'll take an apple. You can also say, ik neem de telefoon op. Opnemen means answering a phone. And you can say, ik neem een boek mee. Meenemen means to take something with you. So, the verb nemen, you can combine it with many prepositions. Zien. Zien. To see. Hij ziet heel weinig. Hij ziet heel weinig. He doesn't see much. So, zien is spelled with a Z, but the Dutch aren't that particular about it, so it just sounds very slightly different from an S. So with an S, you would say zien, and with a Z, you would say zien. Do you hear it? Zien, zien. It's a small difference, but it's there. Komen. Komen. To come. Ze komen morgen op visite. Ze komen morgen op visite. They will come and visit us tomorrow. Another example would be if someone calls you and you want to say, I'm coming, you would say, ik kom eraan. Denken. Denken. To think. Ik denk aan lekker eten. Ik denk aan lekker eten. I am thinking of delicious food. Hear, hear. So unlike in some other languages, denken is very versatile. So you can say, ik denk aan je, I'm thinking of you. Or, ik denk dat het de blauwe is. I believe it's the blue one. So you can use it for both the active act of thinking and for when you mean you believe something to be true. Kijken. Kijken. To look. Ik kijk naar het huis. Ik kijk naar het huis. I'm looking at the house. This is a tricky sound if you don't speak Dutch. Ei. That's because it's a diphthong, which means it's actually consisting of two vowels, like every set of vowels in the phrase, no highway cowboys. So, no highway cowboys. Was that clear, or was it just a weird sentence pronounced really slowly? I can't tell. Willen. Willen. To want. Zij wil een hond. Zij wil een hond. She wants a dog. Now, don't be fooled by those silly Dutch people who say wilt, zij wilt. That's not correct. And wilt is often not the correct word. So if you want to be completely safe, just never use wilt, always say wil. Ik wil, jij wil, hij wil. That's it. You can't go wrong with that. Geven. Geven. To give. Ik geef mijn vriend een verjaardagscadeau. Ik geef mijn vriend een verjaardagscadeau. I'm giving my friend a birthday present. You can also give other things, like when you say, pas op of ik geef je een schop. You're saying, watch out or I'll give you a kick. Gebruiken. Gebruiken. To use. Hij gebruikt de auto. Hij gebruikt de auto. He is using the car. This is another typical example of a diphthong. It's a tricky sound to make. Ui. Ui. Gebruiken. Keep practicing. Vinden. Vinden. To find. Ik kan mijn haarborstel niet vinden. Ik kan mijn haarborstel niet vinden. I can't find my hairbrush. This is a daily struggle for people like me. Usually when I'm saying this, I'm already holding it in my hand and I've forgotten that I found it. Uitgaan. Uitgaan. To go out. Morgen gaan we uit. Morgen gaan we uit. We will go out tomorrow. Now, this is a tricky one because uitgaan can mean to go out for drinks, like here, but it can also mean to step out of bed. For example, when you say, ik ga eruit, you mean I'm getting up. Vragen. Vragen. To ask. Vraag het aan je moeder. Vraag het aan je moeder. Ask your mother. This is what you do every time you have new clothes and you need to know how they can be laundered. Werken. Werken. To work. Zij werkt bij de bank. Zij werkt bij de bank. She works at the bank. This one sounds a lot like the English one, and it's almost written exactly the same way too. Work, werk, but then with an E instead of an O. Binnengaan. Binnengaan. To enter. Het restaurant binnengaan. Het restaurant binnengaan. To enter the restaurant. You may also say binnenlopen, which means the same thing, but it has the meaning of walking in there. Or binnenkomen, if it's from the perspective of someone who is already inside. So if you're sitting inside and someone comes in, you would say hij komt binnen, rather than hij gaat naar binnen. Voelen. Voelen. To feel. Ik voel het in mijn tenen. Ik voel het in mijn tenen. I feel it in my toes. So it's also not very difficult to see the connection here. Feel, voel. Okay, so to be fair, it only has 3 sounds and 2 of them have changed, but you see what I mean, right? Proberen. Proberen. To try. We proberen het gewoon nog eens. We proberen het gewoon nog eens. We will just try it again. So this is a tough one because proberen sounds absolutely nothing like try. They say it comes from the Latin word probare, which means tasting. So maybe that helps you. Verlaten. Verlaten. To leave. Hij verlaat het feest. Hij verlaat het feest. He is leaving the party. Now you may want to be careful with this one because verlaten is a very loaded word, so it means something like to leave alone. You can also say that you feel verlaten. Ik voel me verlaten. And that means that you're feeling abandoned and lonely, so be careful how you use this. Bellen. Bellen. To call. Kun je mij bellen? Kun je mij bellen? Can you call me? There's an interesting background to this one. The word bellen comes from the name Alexander Graham Bell, who was the inventor of the telephone. Rennen. Rennen. To run. Het kind rent naar huis. Het kind rent naar huis. The child runs home. Here again, the words are quite alike, so you would be likely to recognize it without too much trouble. The noun ren also refers to an enclosed piece of land for chickens or rabbits. So the more you know. So that's all for now. I hope you feel like you've learned some important Dutch verbs today. So good luck practicing, and if you want to learn more Dutch, go to dutchpod101.com. Thank you for liking this video and subscribing, and I will see you at the next class. Have a good day. Hi there, and welcome to this Dutch class. My name is Stella, and today we're going to talk about some different phrases that you can use to amaze native speakers of the Dutch language. Are you ready? Let's go! Dank je, maar eigenlijk ben ik geen native speaker. Thank you, but I'm not a native speaker actually. After this class, people automatically assume that you're a native speaker, and then you can baffle them with this sentence. Dank je, maar eigenlijk ben ik geen native speaker. Dank je, maar eigenlijk ben ik geen native speaker. Thank you, but I'm actually not a native speaker. So make sure this comes out completely fluent, because you don't want to ruin the effect. So did you notice that the Dutch verb for native speaker is just native speaker borrowed from the English? That ought to make it a little bit easier for you. Ik had maar een jaar nodig om er vloeiend in te worden. It only took me 1 year to become fluent. Next sentence. Ik had maar een jaar nodig om er vloeiend in te worden. Ik had maar een jaar nodig om er vloeiend in te worden. And this means it only took me 1 year to become fluent. Now don't feel bad if this is not true. Dutch is a notoriously difficult language to master, so it will probably take anyone more than a year. Ik spreek in 3 jaar tijd Nederlands als een native speaker. I'll speak Dutch like a native speaker in 3 years. This one is a touch more realistic. Ik spreek in 3 jaar tijd Nederlands als een native speaker. Ik spreek in 3 jaar tijd Nederlands als een native speaker. So this sentence is said like it's like a New Year's resolution, right? So if you want to say that it has already happened, then you should use the past tense. So you would say, ik sprak in 3 jaar tijd. Instead of ik spreek. Ik ben al 10 jaar Nederlands aan het leren. I've been learning Dutch for 10 years. This next one is for everyone who feels that it's going to take some more time. Ik ben al 10 jaar Nederlands aan het leren. Ik ben al 10 jaar Nederlands aan het leren. I've been learning Dutch for 10 years. So to be honest, even native Dutch speakers make mistakes. I've been learning Dutch for 27 years. It's a hard language, guys, so don't feel bad. Ik kan Nederlandse films zonder ondertiteling kijken. I can watch Dutch movies without subtitles. Here's one that's a true accomplishment and it's within reach. Ik kan Nederlandse films zonder ondertiteling kijken. Ik kan Nederlandse films zonder ondertiteling kijken. And this means I can watch Dutch movies without subtitles. Now the only question remaining is, why would you want to watch Dutch movies? I'm just kidding. There's one movie that I really do like and can recommend, and it's called Minoes. The story is by Annie M.G. Schmid, and it has Carice van Houten in it. So it's a really great movie. It's about a woman who's actually a cat, I think. Ik kan ongeveer 50 nieuwe Nederlandse woorden per dag onthouden. I can memorize around 50 new Dutch words a day. Next phrase. Ik kan ongeveer 50 nieuwe Nederlandse woorden per dag onthouden. Ik kan ongeveer 50 nieuwe Nederlandse woorden onthouden. I can memorize around 50 new Dutch words a day. So if that's really true, then I applaud you. 50 words is a lot to remember in one day. Nederlands is leuk en makkelijk te leren. Dutch is fun and easy to learn. Nederlands is leuk en makkelijk te leren. Nederlands is leuk en makkelijk te leren. Dutch is fun and easy to learn. Now, to be completely honest, I don't agree with this. I feel it's disheartening to say that any language is easy to learn. I mean, sure, we're trying to make it as easy as we can for you, but it takes a lot of hard work, and also it really depends on what language you're coming from. Like if you already speak German or something, it'll be a lot easier. So however hard or easy you think it is, go you, you're doing great. Naast het Nederlands kan ik ook nog een paar andere talen spreken. Apart from Dutch, I can speak a few other languages as well. Naast het Nederlands kan ik ook een paar andere talen spreken. Naast het Nederlands kan ik ook een paar andere talen spreken. Apart from Dutch, I can speak a few other languages as well. So if you're watching this, you at least speak English fairly well, and probably a little Dutch by now. So good job. And if you don't feel that that's enough, I can recommend Swedish. It's a pretty language. Ik leer Nederlands helemaal zelf. I'm learning Dutch all by myself. Ik leer Nederlands helemaal zelf. Ik leer Nederlands helemaal zelf. I'm learning Dutch all by myself. If you are, don't do that. The key to any language is communication, and really listening and speaking with others would really help you learning this language. So whenever you can, try to practice your listening and speaking skills with a buddy who's also learning Dutch, or even better, with a Dutch native speaker. So studying by yourself is impressive, but learning with a friend is faster and more fun. So try to find someone to study with. Ik begreep alles van wat je zei. I completely understood everything you said. Now, if things are going really well and someone is unsure about your Dutch skills, you can say this. Ik begreep alles van wat je zei. Ik begreep alles van wat je zei. I completely understood everything you said. So Dutch people will switch to English when they think that maybe it's easier for you. So to prevent them from doing that, make sure you can say this sentence so you can practice your listening skills and speaking skills too, maybe. So congratulations on finishing this lesson in 10 phrases you can use to amaze native Dutch speakers with. Thank you for watching. If there's anything you want to know more about, let me know in the comments. Remember to subscribe, and if you want to learn more Dutch, you can go to dutchpod101.com. Thanks for watching. Hi there, you here to learn some Dutch? My name is Stella, and today we'll be talking about some very important autumn vocabulary. Let's go! The first word of the day is trui, sweater. Mijn trui is te klein. Mijn trui is te klein. My sweater is too small. Now, this can be a tough word to pronounce because of the O sound and the throaty R. Trouw. Trouw. Keep practicing. It's a tough one. The next word is regenachtig. Rainy. Het is regenachtig weer. Het is regenachtig weer. The weather is rainy. So these sound quite similar. Regen, rainy. See, you got this. Just remember to practice the regenachtig. It's a really, really tricky one for non-native Dutch speakers. But I'm sure you can get it right. Just practice. Winderig. Windy. Het wordt morgen een winderige dag. Het wordt morgen een winderige dag. Tomorrow is going to be a windy day. Again, very similar sounds, so easy to remember. In Dutch, if you want to make a noun into an adjective, sometimes you can add ig or achtig at the end. So, zon, zonnig, regen, regenachtig. Fris. Cool. De wind is erg fris. De wind is erg fris. The wind is very cool, by which we mean cold. Now, the word fris can also mean refreshing, or it can be used as a noun, and in that case it means soda. Next word is herfst. Autumn. De herfst is mijn favoriete jaargetijde. De herfst is mijn favoriete jaargetijde. Autumn is my favorite season. Fun fact, herfst is a funny word because it doesn't rhyme with anything, since it has 4 consonants at the end. Okay, next word is koud. Cold. Het water van de Noordzee is koud. Het water van de Noordzee is koud. The water of the North Sea is cold. This is definitely true, guys. I mean, the North Sea is wonderful, but the water is murky and very, very cold. So why is it lovely, you ask? Well, because it's Dutch, of course. Duh. Next word. Kastanje. Chestnut. We gaan kastanjes zoeken. We gaan kastanjes zoeken. We'll go chestnut hunting. Fun fact, the word kast in kastanje actually means closet, kind of like the word chest in chestnut. Hey. Another autumn staple, t-shirt met lange mouwen. Long-sleeved shirt. Ik ben op zoek naar een t-shirt met lange mouwen. Ik ben op zoek naar een t-shirt met lange mouwen. I am looking for a long-sleeved t-shirt. Now you don't necessarily need to say T, you can also just say shirt. And remember that the au in mouwen is pronounced kind of like in the word how. Vallende bladeren. Falling leaves. In oktober zie je al vallende bladeren. In oktober zie je al vallende bladeren. You can already see falling leaves in October. Be careful, in Dutch we do not spell the words of months with a capital letter at the beginning. Blad. Leaf. Het blad van een eik. Het blad van een eik. The leaf of an oak. So be mindful of this word. The singular is blad, plural is bladeren. So it's common to use the diminutive form bladje. That's all for today, guys. Thanks for watching. And remember to practice your Dutch vocabulary. So if you like this, please like and subscribe. And if you want to learn more Dutch, visit DutchPod101.com. Have a wonderful autumn.
Want to speak real Dutch from your first lesson? Sign up for your free lifetime account at DutchPod101.com.
You are at a train station where you're attempting to buy an express ticket from a ticket machine. Which option should you choose to buy an express ticket? Which option should you choose to buy an express ticket? The option on the bottom left is for an express ticket.
Sneltreinkaartje.
You are at a train station where you've just bought an express ticket. Which train car, row, and seat number are you in? Which train car, row, and seat number are you in? The ticket says that you're in train car number 1 in the 8th row in seat C.
Treinstel nummer 1. Rij 8. Stoel C.
You are at a train station where you're reading the train schedule for an express ticket that you've just bought. On which days are there no express trains running? On which days are there no express trains running? There are no express trains running on public holidays and the third Sunday of every month.
Nationale feestdagen. Derde zondag van elke maand.
You are on a platform at a train station where you're waiting for your train. Suddenly, a message appears on the display. What does the message on the display mean? What does the message on the display mean? The display reads, "The next train will not stop."
De volgende trein zal niet stoppen.
You are at a train station where you're looking for the best exit to catch a taxi. Which exit should you take to get to the taxi rank? Which exit should you take to get to the taxi rank? You should take the east exit in order to get to the taxi rank.
Uitgang Oost.
You just bought a few items from a local shop online. What information does the website say about the delivery date? What information does the website say about the delivery date? The website says that delivery dates differ depending on the delivery method, but all dates should be calculated from the next working day.
Leveringsdata verschillen afhankelijk van de verzendmethode, maar alle data moeten worden berekend vanaf de volgende werkdag.
The day after ordering an item online, you receive an email notification. How can you track your package? How can you track your package? The email says that you can track your package on this website by logging into your account, and after logging in, click on your order history and enter the order number found in this email.
U kunt uw pakket traceren door in te loggen met uw gegevens op deze website. Na het inloggen klik op uw bestelgeschiedenis en toets het bestelnummer in wat u in deze e-mail vindt.
You're reading the instructions of an electronic device you've just bought. What should you do in case of overheating? What should you do in case of overheating? The manual says that if you notice the surface overheating, unplug the device immediately and allow it to cool down before handling again.
Als u merkt dat de oppervlakte oververhit raakt, ontkoppel het apparaat onmiddellijk en laat het eerst afkoelen alvorens weer te gebruiken.
Does having a study partner help you learn a language faster? For most people, having a friend or romantic partner who is a native speaker of their target language dramatically improves their ability to master the language. In this video, we'll talk about some ways to help you build relationships with people. We'll also talk about 3 reasons having a native speaker partner can improve your language fluency. First, knowing a native speaker helps you better understand the culture. Knowing a native speaker gets you connected with the culture in ways that no lessons or textbooks ever could. Native speakers are better informed about the latest slang expressions and know interesting places to eat and hang out. Having a friend or partner who is a native speaker can dramatically improve your understanding of the language. In addition to language, you can learn about cultural practices, gestures, and relationships. Second, having a native speaker partner increases your exposure to the language. Practice makes perfect is a well-known expression that is certainly true for language learning. When you have a friend, romantic partner, or study buddy, you speak to them through text messages, phone calls, and basic interaction. These are all opportunities for you to practice the language. Making an effort to practice will help your vocabulary quickly expand beyond simple greetings, flirtatious words, and basic comments to deeper, more meaningful conversations. Third, a supportive partner is the best study aid you can find. We all make mistakes, especially when trying to learn a new language. But if you have a supportive partner, they can gently point out your mistakes and help you find better ways to express yourself. And if your native speaker study partner is also your romantic partner, your motivation will likely be even higher than someone who does not have a romantic relationship with a native speaker. Now, let's look at 3 ways our language learning program helps you learn even faster if you have a native speaker partner. First, all resources and materials are available in English and in your target language. Studying with a partner is special because it's an opportunity for both of you to learn a new language. That's why every single lesson, transcript, vocabulary list, and resource on our website is available in English and in your target language. You can learn from each other. Second, lessons are designed to help you understand and engage with culture. On our website, our focus is to help our students learn practical vocabulary and phrases that are actually used in everyday conversation. This means that from your very first lesson, you can start applying what you learn immediately. So if you want to go out to a restaurant, play games, or attend a social function with your partner, you'll have the vocabulary and phrases necessary to have a great time. Third, access to special resources dedicated to romantic phrases. If your study partner is your romantic partner, we have resources to help you communicate your feelings correctly. Our language learning program has special sections and tools to teach you love words, phrases, and cultural insights. Of course, please remember that simply being in a relationship is no substitute for studying. Communication is key to every relationship, whether romantic or not. If you fail to continue expanding your vocabulary and you stop learning the language on your own, your relationships may suffer or fizzle out. Without question, spending time with native speakers can help you dramatically improve your language proficiency. But this is no replacement for focused studying. It's essential to help facilitate better communication and master the language. When learning a new language, we sometimes have a hard time with things like procrastination, discouragement, or failure. But don't panic. With a good strategy, you'll be able to overcome these difficulties. Are you ready to discover the 4 habits of successful learners? Number 1, optimize your time. When learning a language, it's important to dedicate time to your studies regularly, even if sometimes it's difficult. You're busy with school, work, family, or friends, but you can spread out your learning throughout the day. Study whenever you have small gaps of time in your busy schedule. This can be when you're on the metro, on your lunch break, or while you're exercising. Our podcast learning format fits perfectly into your tight schedule. Number 2, consistency with your chosen method. There are a lot of options when it comes to courses and learning materials. Switching from one method to another can confuse you and disrupt your progress. Focusing on one learning method will make a difference. Our method has been created and optimized by real teachers, so you can stick to it with confidence. Number 3, use your language background. Many languages share some commonalities. You can find words that look or sound similar, or even share the same grammar structure. A little bit of language background will give you an edge while learning. Number 4, study continuously. People are excited when they start learning a new language. The enthusiasm usually lasts until the first roadblock. This can lead to discouragement and procrastination. But don't burn yourself out. Learning a language is a marathon, not a sprint. Don't try to learn it all at once. Break things down into more digestible chunks. Learning step by step might feel slow, but it's an efficient way to learn a language. With patience, motivation, and good resources, you'll master the language. Remember, you can't learn a language overnight, but with motivation and these daily lessons, you'll be on the road to fluency. When learning a new language, everyone should have an ultimate goal to work towards. Whether you want to be able to connect with a relative, easily order food while traveling, or go somewhere new, having an end goal for your learning can be very motivating. A popular but challenging goal is being able to speak like a native speaker. It's difficult to measure exactly when you reach this goal, and it's not something you can pick up using textbooks alone. So how do you work on making your speech more natural? That's what we're going to look at today. Here are 3 tips to help you practice talking like a native speaker. Number 1, focus on vocabulary. If your goal is to speak like a native, you might be really focused on speaking quickly or using as many complex grammar patterns as possible. But in our native languages, we're not always trying to speak as fast as possible, and we use complex grammar patterns when necessary, not to show off. Vocabulary, however, is extremely important to expressing ourselves naturally. Your choice of words can reveal a lot about you and your understanding of the language. Most learners have had the experience of using a phrasebook or a dictionary to find a word they want to use, trying the word in conversation, and getting a look of confusion from the native speaker. In some cases, although your word choice may be grammatically correct, the word may be inappropriate for the situation or totally unnatural. This is especially important in business and other formal situations, where the right level of formality and professionalism is key. Being able to understand nuances in vocabulary words can also help you understand relationships between people just by listening to the conversation. Try to listen to many different types of conversations. Listen to how people talk to their friends, their superiors, and in customer service situations. This will give you a better idea of how to talk to others naturally. In some languages, you can omit words from sentences or use more direct communication styles. It's important to be aware of these things so you can apply them yourself. Colloquialisms and slang are also commonly used in most languages. As this sort of vocabulary is always evolving, it can be difficult to keep up with the latest words. Talk with native speakers and consume media in your target language to make sure you pick up these kinds of expressions. Media is a great resource for your learning. Ultimately, knowing the appropriate vocabulary to use for each situation will really help you sound more knowledgeable. Number 2, perfect your accent. With every language, there are unique pronunciation and intonation challenges. Some languages are tonal languages, and a change in pitch can completely change the meaning of a word. Then there's the fact that most countries have multiple dialects, and so people from one area of the country may sound different from those in another. So what is the best way to listen to a wide range of accents and different pronunciations? Video and audio resources are a great way to do this. YouTube is a perfect place to start because people from all kinds of different backgrounds upload videos to the platform. You can watch educational videos, daily life vlogs, cooking shows, a travel series, whatever interests you. Pay attention to the different ways people speak. Everyone is unique. And then practice speaking like them. This kind of practice can help you sound more natural. One note, please be aware of the type of resources you're using. For example, if you find a video where a speaker uses a rare dialect, it might not be a good idea to use that for your pronunciation practice, unless you have a special reason for studying a specific accent. As a general rule, it's best to try to search for practice resources that use a standard form of the language you're studying. Number 3, copy what you hear. Do you remember how you learned to speak as a child? We rarely learned new words just listening to them, or reading after we learned how. When we were little kids, we imitated the sounds we heard by repeating the sounds out loud. While you're talking to a friend, watching videos, or listening to audio in your target language, you can do this to try and replicate the way they speak. Doing this will help you work on mastering the flow of the language, your accent, intonation, and pronunciation. Of course, you might also pick up some new vocabulary this way. Make sure to repeat new words often. It's a great way to make sure you remember them. Try doing this using a number of different mediums and sources. That way, you'll be exposed to the diversity that the language offers and master the fundamentals of pronunciation. For example, you can watch and imitate several different YouTube videos and audio CDs, but try a few different sources, like different creators or different audio types, to make sure you experience a wide range of communication in your target language. If you're using our language learning program, you can even get your own teacher with Premium Plus. Your teacher can answer questions, give assignments, and even listen to your recordings and give you advice on pronunciation. Completing these kinds of lessons with a native teacher can really boost your confidence in your speaking skills. Becoming able to speak like a native is a popular goal for many people learning a new language. It feels great to be able to communicate smoothly, especially when the people you're talking to expect basic level sentences or broken communication. Try using the tips we've shared in this video to work on improving your speaking skills. Of course, it'll take time and persistence, but the reward will be more natural communication. And for even more tips on speaking, check out our complete language learning program. Sign up for your free lifetime account by clicking on the link in the description. Get tons of resources to have you speaking in your target language. And if you enjoyed these tips, hit the like button, share the video with anyone who's trying to learn a new language, and subscribe to our channel. We release new videos every week. I'll see you next time. Bye! Want to know how to improve your listening and speaking skills, be able to save conversations, listen to them as many times as you want, and learn hundreds of practical everyday conversations? Well, there is an easy way to do this. In this video, we'll go over how to speak more using the dialogue track. So, what is the dialogue track? The dialogue track is an audio track with just the conversation from the lesson. It's only about 10 to 30 seconds long. Let's say you're looking at a 5-minute lesson about ordering food at a restaurant. First, you hear a conversation. Then our teachers explain every grammar rule and translate every word, so you know what it all means. That's where the dialogue track comes in. It gives you just the conversation. Here's what makes the dialogue track so powerful. First, you can quickly review the conversation without re-listening to the lesson. The dialogue track is just 10 to 30 seconds long, so it won't take you very long to cover both new and old information. This makes it perfect for a quick review of what you've just learned, and it helps keep it fresh in your brain. Second, you'll remember the conversations easier. Listen on repeat, like you would with a song, and the words, phrases, and grammar rules will stick better. And the more you come back to re-listen, the better it will all stick. Third, you'll speak more of your target language. So if you have 10, 20, or 100 dialogue tracks like that, then you have 10, 20, or 100 conversations that you'll know inside out and that you can use in real life. For example, conversations like catching up with friends, ordering at a restaurant, talking about your family, introducing yourself, and much, much more. Fourth, you improve your listening skills and can immerse yourself in the language. So imagine you've finished 20 lessons and you've downloaded 20 dialogue tracks to your phone. That's 20 conversations. You can create a playlist and play those 20 tracks and get used to the language and immerse yourself. To recap what we just learned, here's what you do to make the most of the dialogue tracks. First, after you finish a lesson, download the dialogue track. Save it to your computer or phone so you can listen to it on repeat whenever possible. Just replace 3 to 15 minutes of music listening for some language review. Next, if you've finished 20 lessons, you should have 20 dialogue tracks. Use those to create a playlist of these dialogue tracks so that you can listen to all kinds of conversations. And finally, try shadowing the conversations that you hear. This will become super easy once you've heard the conversation enough times. But if you're still struggling with a word or two, go back to the lesson and check the line-by-line breakdown of the conversation to find the words you need to practice. Boost your speaking skills with the dialogue track and check out our complete language learning program. Sign up for your free lifetime account by clicking on the link in the description. Get tons of resources to have you speaking in your target language. And if you enjoyed these tips, hit the like button, share the video with anyone who's trying to learn a new language, and subscribe to our channel. We release new videos every week. I'll see you next time. Bye! Want to speak your target language with confidence and impress native speakers? When learning to speak a new language, you have lots of things to think about, including grammar, vocabulary, and pronunciation. Because you're thinking of all of these things and trying to speak, it can be difficult to communicate with confidence, especially in the beginning. This is why it's helpful to make confidence-building exercises part of your language learning process. In this video, you'll learn 7 ways to boost your confidence. 1. Read out loud. This might seem pretty basic, but it's a great way to practice speaking. Reading aloud lets you practice speaking without having to think about grammar or things to talk about. Reading out loud lets you focus on your pronunciation and the rhythm of the language. It can help you learn to speak more smoothly and quickly, without even thinking about it. If you're using our lessons, read the dialogue out loud as you listen. You can read along with the dialogue tool, the lesson notes, or the transcript. 2. Read like a child. This might sound strange, but think about children learning to read. They go slow and sound everything out. Maybe it takes 2 or 3 tries before they read a new word smoothly, and a few more tries before they can read it at a natural pace. This example applies to language learning too. If you find a complex sentence in something you're reading, read it slowly at first, then speed up. With practice, you'll be able to say it easily. It might feel a bit silly to speak very slowly, but this kind of practice can help you identify tough sounds you might miss or say incorrectly when reading quickly. 3. Use the dialogue breakdown tool. If you're using our site, this is a great tool to take advantage of. It breaks down lesson conversations into individual lines. You can listen to the audio for each line, learn what each line means, and can reread and review as much as you want. 4. Use the voice recorder to record and compare yourself with native speakers. Just click on the microphone icon next to each line in the dialogue section. You can use this tool to perfect your pronunciation if you like, but this is also something you can use to work on speaking with confidence at native level speed. You'll find this tool in the dialogue section of all of our lessons. 5. Repeat and review old lesson conversations. Reviewing what you've studied in the past is the best way to make sure you maintain what you've learned. Go back to older lessons, download the lesson dialogue tracks, and re-listen to the conversations again and again. Or you can reread the dialogue lines from previous lessons until you've mastered them all. 6. Shadow conversations. Repeat what you hear out loud. This tactic is important, but it can be tricky when you're doing a brand new lesson. If you're reviewing dialogues from lessons you've done though, it's super easy to do. Just listen to the dialogue and repeat what you hear. Shadowing means mimicking the speaker as soon as they speak, following their intonation and rhythms as closely as possible. 7. Send recordings to your Premium Plus teacher. If you want to speak with confidence, there's no better confidence boost than feedback from a native speaker, and you get just that with a Premium Plus teacher. You can record yourself reciting a lesson dialogue or any dialogue of your own, and your teacher will give you specific tips on how to improve. From the tips your teacher gives you, choose at least one and practice, practice, practice. Being able to react quickly and with confidence in a conversation is typically not something you can do on your first try, but if you continue practicing, you'll gradually find yourself speaking with ease. And for even more ways to build your speaking confidence, check out our complete language learning program. Sign up for your free lifetime account by clicking on the link in the description. Get tons of resources to have you speaking in your target language. And if you enjoyed these tips, hit the like button, share the video with anyone who's trying to learn a new language, and subscribe to our channel. We release new videos every week. I'll see you next time. Bye! When you start out learning a foreign language, everything is exciting. You pick up new words and basic phrases fairly quickly. The first time you say a greeting or answer the question, "How are you?" you might even get a little thrill. Speaking fluently doesn't feel that far off, and at this point, it really does seem like language learning isn't all that difficult. But after a week or two, things begin to change. After a few weeks of study, you start to hit walls as you're faced with strange grammar, vocabulary, and pronunciation. Everything about learning a new language seemed promising and hopeful before, but now you start to realize how difficult it's going to be. Speaking the language now feels like a long, far-off goal that you may or may not achieve one day. But don't let the innocence of being an absolute beginner or the disillusionment of being an experienced learner discourage you from learning. Speaking a new language may not be as far off as you thought. In this video, we'll look at 3 tips to help you practice your speaking skills, no matter what level you're at. Number 1, practice with native speakers. Practicing with native speakers is by far one of the most effective things you can do to improve your speaking abilities. Think of speaking a foreign language as riding a bike. After a certain point, you can't read or theorize about how to do it. You have to actually do it. If you can practice speaking with native speakers who correct you and give good feedback, then you'll be well on your way to improving your speaking. But where can you find native speakers to practice with? If you live in or near a major city, there's a good chance there are some native speakers there. You might even get lucky and discover an entire community. Do a little research into the demographics of your city, or simply keep your eyes open the next time you go through town. You can also attend a language exchange or cultural event. Meetup is a site for local enthusiast groups, and there are usually some language-speaking clubs or cultural clubs there. If you're unable to find native speakers where you live, then jump online and find them there. There are a lot of free online exchanges that allow you to connect with other language learners from all over the globe via text, audio, or video chat. Look for a speaker who is learning your native language. You can spend an hour or so helping each other in your respective target languages. This is a highly practical and helpful way to learn. It's also a great way to learn more directly about the culture you're studying in a real way. Number 2, devote some time to learning pronunciation. Pronunciation often isn't the first skill people think of working on when learning a foreign language, but that doesn't mean that it isn't important. Truth be told, you don't absolutely need a great accent to speak or understand every language. However, a decent accent can vastly improve your listening and speaking abilities in ways you might not expect. Being able to pronounce words and sounds makes it a lot easier for you to remember and understand new words simply by hearing them. If you can physically make a sound with your mouth, then you can mentally remember it. Once you have a good accent, the new language won't sound as foreign as it once did, and you'll be able to understand rapid speech, as well as pick up the definition of new words based on their conversational context. But how can you improve your accent? If you're serious about developing your accent, then you'll want to dissect the language's sound system into its individual parts. First by letters, then individual words, followed by whole phrases. Start doing some mild research on the phonetics of your target language. You don't have to get too technical here. Just try to get an idea of some of the main differences between it and your native language. Find out where native speakers usually put their tongue while saying certain sounds. Or pay attention to the shape of their mouths when they speak. Is it open or closed? These subtle differences are what really help you improve. Once you get the letters down, start listening to native audio and compare your pronunciation to the native speakers. Our language learning program's playback feature is a great way to accomplish this. Take a phrase from a lesson and start by practicing the individual words, playing the audio back at a slower speed and then again at a regular speed. After comparing your speech to the audio, combine the words to make complete phrases, imitating the intonation of the native speakers. This precise method of pronunciation practice is one of the most efficient and effective ways to learn pronunciation. Number 3, imitate, don't just repeat. Anytime you speak, do your best to imitate the native speakers you've heard and practice with. Match the way their intonation rises and falls. Pay attention to their word order. It's even a good idea to match some of their body language. This degree of imitation will probably feel weird at first, but it reinforces fluency in the language and breaks you out of the parrot trap, where you simply learn and speak through rote memorization or repetition. This is a common problem that's often cited with other less effective language learning methods. Speaking a language is like playing music or dancing. You don't want to just know it. You want to live in the moment and feel it as you use it. You don't sit and think of what you're going to say in your native language before you say it. Why would you expect to do the same in a new one? Don't let ruffled expectations make you think that speaking a new language is impossible. Yes, it's difficult, but it probably isn't as difficult as you think it is. With a little determination and some faithful practice, you might be surprised how quick and how far you can progress. Use these tips to better practice the language and see real results in your speaking abilities. And for even more ways to practice your speaking, check out our complete language learning program. Sign up for your free lifetime account by clicking on the link in the description. Get tons of resources to have you speaking in your target language. And if you enjoyed these tips, hit the like button, share the video with anyone who's trying to learn a new language, and subscribe to our channel. We release new videos every week. I'll see you next time. Bye! Want to speed up your language learning? Take your very first lesson with us. You'll start speaking in minutes and master real conversations. Sign up for your free lifetime account. Just click the link in the description.